So hello guys, welcome back. This is csecnow, and I'll be going through this 2024 January Social Study Paper 2, and I will just going through a topic. The topic would be tourism, and nonetheless, so guys, make sure you guys do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't do so. And I'll be going through the questions real fast. Alright, so this has to do with tourism. Good. So this topic is a part of the paper, but I will just complete one of the section, as you guys could see, before your exams tomorrow. Alright, so this topic is tourism. So it has to do with tourism and its impact on a physical environment. And be sure guys to also read the questions very carefully, because the questions, they normally rephrase the questions and in a different way, but the topics always remain the same. Alright, good. So here it says you need to write an essay on the topic above, in which, so here you're going to define the term heritage tourism. Alright, so when you're writing the essay, you'd have to start as an introduction. Alright, define the term heritage tourism. Alright, so heritage tourism is a type of tourism that involves visiting historical or industrial site. These sites may include like an old canal, a railway, or battlegrounds, and it could also be military sites and so on. Alright, so when you're doing your essay guys, you have to give the introduction. So the introduction, this is what they are asking for. Define the term heritage tourism. Alright, good. And here it says you need to outline the ways in which tourism can harm physical, land, sea, air, and environment of your country. So here we're going to outline the 3 ways in which tourism can harm the physical land, sea, and air. So let me break it down for you. So for land now, it would be land degradation. So where we had land would be the pressure on natural resources. So that would be one way. Alright, so that would be on the land. So let me read the pressure on natural resources. So tourism develop often increases consumption in areas where resources are already scarce. Water resources, local resources, and land can be depleted due to the influx of tourists. Alright, so where we had tourist development, I would say is often increases in consumption in the area where resources are already scarce. Alright, so this is land degradation. Good, moving along. So they mention about sea. So the sea would be sea pollution. Alright, and when we mention about pollution, pollution has to do with the waste product. So this would be waste and pollution. So let me just go ahead and explain it for you. So tourists contribute to pollution by generating waste, littering, or using resources like water. For example, here we'd have normally depicting into the coastal area where they are particularly affected as they face increased pressure from tourism related activities. Alright, pollution harms the marine ecosystem that disrupt the balance of the coral habitats. So this would affect the sea pollution in a way. Sorry, so that is one way. So when you're writing your essay guys, ensure that you had your essay in a way to catch the reader eyes guys. So they are asking you to define the term heritage tourism. Define the term, and the term would be the attention getter. Alright, trying to get the attention of the reader's eyes, trying to outline the 3 points that they need. Alright, as they mention here. Good. So let's move on. So we're gonna go along to the air. So the air would be air pollution. Good. So let me just edit this just a moment. So air pollution would be 3. Let me just cross out this. Alright, so we have air right here. Put the arrow. So we have air pollution. And air pollution would has to do with the transport emissions. So where we have air is traveled is a significant contributor to greenhouse gases emissions. Alright, the aviation industry, which is the carbon footprint that affects the air quality and that contribute to climate change. Here where we have tourists, flights, and transportation within destination that add to this pollution. Alright, so where we are mentioning about air pollution would have the contribution to greenhouse gases that would affect the air, and that's what they are asking here, guys. How can all of the tourists can affect the physical land and sea environment of your country? So we having tourists coming inside of our country. How can they affect land, sea, and air? And as I mentioned, I already output, guys, tourist flights and transportation within destination that added pollution. So this could be a main point, guys. Tourist flights, alright, and transportation within the destination that had adds to its pollution. Good. So here there's another point. I'm gonna locate another point here where we have local air quality. Where we have local air quality, it's very basically crowded in a tourist area. So where we had crowded, then eventually we would have the increase of traffic, emissions from vehicles that can degrade the local air quality. Also, this impacts both residents and visitors. Alright, so here we have crowded areas that would increase the traffic and emissions from vehicles that can degrade the local air quality. So that is how it affected the air pollution. Alright, make sure you guys are copying this. And as I mentioned, guys, read the question very carefully. Rephrase your answers in your own terms. Alright, trying to give the best simple answer as you can understand. Try rephrase it in your own words, put it together and join your essay, guys, so you could get the total of the 20 marks. Alright, guys, good. Here let me just go ahead and go down. So the other questions here, it says suggest 3 actions that the government in your country may take to reduce the harm caused to environment by the tourist industry. So the 3 actions that the government may take to reduce the harm caused to the tourist industry. Here we could just go along and see this would be a stricter regulation, and a stricter regulation government could also enact and enforce regulation that limits environmental impacts of tourism. So that would be, for instance, the government can also set a limit of number of visitors to a sensitive area. For example, if we have, like, for example, in Ocharias, right? Visitor normally went to Ocharias would normally I would say here we would normally have like probably more than 1,000 visitors. The government could limit that number to even, like, for example, 200. Alright, so here would be stricter regulations. Alright, so restrict construction in illogically fragile zones and regulate waste disposal. Alright, so that could be the stricter regulations where we could I would say the government could take to reduce the harm that caused to the environment by the tourist industry. So that would be one. Alright, good. The second one would be cyanine and protected area. So cyanine and protected area would be where government can also designate, and designate would be like the government could also implement the protection of the area. Simple meaning national parks, like for example the marine reserve, to the safeguard national not national but the natural habitats and biodiversity. Also a proper cyanine would ensures that the tourism activity do not harm the critical ecosystems. Alright guys, good. And another one here would be carrying capacity assessment, and where the government would carry out this role or these measures would also, the government should also assess by carrying the capacity of the tourist destination to determine the maximum number of visitors that can accommodate without causing the harm. So if, for example, the government wanted to implement around like 200 or 500 tourism tourists, I would say the government want to ensure that the 500 would not be a limit, but it would not affect. Alright, so here this also helps to prevent overcrowding and resource depletion. Alright, depletion. So where we are trying to prevent overcrowding and the resource depletion is where the government could just have some measures in place to ensure everything is running smooth. Alright, and we are not having any overcrowded that would affect the harmful of the environment by the tourist industry. Alright guys, so as I mentioned with the essay, ensure you guys construct your essay to the maximum point where you want it. Here they also said you need to explain why each action is likely to be successful. So let me just go back on the action here. So the first action would be stricter regulation, and the reason why the stricter regulation would be successful is because if the government implement stricter regulation, then eventually it would not impact the tourism. I would say the board that the government doesn't have to even set a limit, because the stricter regulation would have been carried out where everything that would set in place would be very natural. Alright, so we would not have any issue with the tourist industry. Alright, so we would not have a problem with the land, air, nor the sea. Alright, so if we are putting stricter measures in place, as I mentioned guys, your answer doesn't have to be my answer. Uses your common senses guys and your knowledge. Alright, and ensure that you are constructing your essay in a proper way where you can receive your marks. Alright, try to informative way. Alright, try to get the information as much as you can. Read the questions very keenly, carefully guys. Answer your questions and be safe in the exams tomorrow. And I ensure you guys will have a wonderful one and straight grade ones. Alright guys, and remember, always put God first in everything that you do, and always remember guys, only your best is good enough. Alright, so if you make it to the end of this video guys, make sure you guys do drop a like and subscribe to the channel and type kudos in the comment section. Also feel free to leave a comment in the comment section which country you're watching from, alright, and your school also, and be safe. Thank you for watching and making it with CSEC Now. Kudos.